Welcome back, coin hunters. What if the ordinary-looking coin sitting in your pocket, your old collection, or even a forgotten jar at home could be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, or in some extraordinary cases, enough to make you a millionaire? What if a penny sitting in your change jar right now looks ordinary, but one tiny detail could make it worth far more than 1 cent? Today, we're hunting for the 2009 Lincoln penny with a D mint mark. And before you spend yours, you need to hear what collectors look for. Because the $1 million story has a twist that most videos never tell you. If you have a 2009 D Lincoln cent, grab it and keep it nearby. We're going to uncover why this date matters, what mistakes people make, which errors can change the value, and, most importantly, whether your penny has any realistic chance of becoming a major collectible. First, look at the date. It says 2009. Now look below the date. If you see a small D, that means the coin was struck at the Denver Mint. At first glance, it seems like just another modern penny. Copper-colored, small, easy to ignore. But 2009 was a special year for Lincoln cents, and that is where our mystery begins. In 2009, the United States celebrated the 200th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth and the 100th anniversary of the Lincoln cent. To mark the occasion, the Mint released 4 different reverse designs during the year. Each one represented a different stage of Lincoln's life. So suddenly, a penny that looks familiar became part of a major historical series. And here's the first trap. Some people hear 2009 Lincoln penny and immediately assume every example is rare. That's not how coin collecting works. Millions were made, and most ordinary 2009 D cents are worth close to face value in circulated condition. Yes, that sounds disappointing, but don't put the coin away yet. The real hunt is for the unusual one. Turn the penny over. The reverse should show one of 4 Lincoln designs from 2009. One depicts Lincoln's birthplace in Kentucky. Another represents his formative years in Indiana. A third shows Lincoln's professional life in Illinois. The fourth celebrates the unfinished Capitol Dome in Washington, symbolizing his presidency. Now stop for a second. Which design does yours have? Collectors organize these coins by design, mint, condition, and errors. And condition can make a dramatic difference. A shiny, sharply struck coin with almost no marks is much more interesting than a heavily worn example pulled from circulation. But here's where things get exciting. Imagine finding a 2009 D penny that looks almost untouched. The lettering is crisp. Lincoln's portrait has strong detail. The fields are clean. The original mint luster still flashes when you tilt the coin under a light. Suddenly, you're not just looking at a penny. You're looking at a coin that may deserve professional grading. And grading is where many beginners get confused. A coin can look beautiful to your eyes and still receive a lower grade because of tiny scratches, weak strike details, spots, or signs of cleaning. Never polish a potentially valuable coin. Cleaning can permanently damage its collector value. The safest move is simple. Hold it by the edges, keep it away from harsh chemicals, and compare it with certified examples. Now let's talk about the word that gets everyone's attention, error. A genuine mint error can make an ordinary-looking coin much more interesting. Collectors may look for unusual doubling, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, wrong planchets, dramatic die problems, or other abnormalities created during production. But there is a huge warning here. Not every strange-looking penny is an error. Machine doubling can fool beginners. Damage after the coin left the mint can create bizarre shapes. Scratches, dents, flattened lettering, and chemical discoloration can look dramatic, but usually don't create a fortune. So if your 2009 D penny has something strange, don't celebrate yet. Investigate first. Here's a simple test. Look at the questionable area under strong magnification. Compare it with another 2009 cent. Ask yourself whether the feature appears raised, duplicated, distorted, or simply damaged. If the difference is significant, take clear photographs and consider having the coin examined by an experienced numismatist or a reputable grading service. And now we reach the $1 million claim. You may have seen headlines saying a 2009 D Lincoln penny can be worth $1 million. That number sounds incredible. It makes you want to empty every jar, drawer, and old coffee can in the house. But here's the truth. An ordinary 2009 D Lincoln cent is not a $1 million coin. There is no reason to believe that simply owning a 2009 D penny makes you a millionaire. That doesn't mean the hunt is pointless. Quite the opposite. The value of a coin can change dramatically when rarity, condition, and a verified mint error come together. A dramatic claim on social media is not the same thing as a documented auction result. And that distinction can save you from an expensive mistake. A random online listing asking for $1 million does not mean somebody actually paid $1 million. That's one of the biggest mistakes coin hunters make. They see an outrageous asking price and assume it is the market value. But collectors care about evidence. They look at auction records, certified grades, established dealers, and comparable sales. If you want to know what your coin is really worth, those are the clues you should follow. Now let's imagine two 2009 pennies. The first has been in circulation for years. Lincoln's portrait is worn, the rims are nicked, and the surface is scratched. That's a common coin. The second was preserved carefully from the moment it was struck. It has excellent detail, strong luster, and very few imperfections. Maybe it also has a legitimate, dramatic mint error. Now the conversation changes. And there's another detail you should never overlook. The mint mark. On a 2009 D cent, the D identifies Denver. Don't confuse the mint mark with a special error. The D itself isn't automatically rare. Its importance comes from the combination of date, design, condition, and any legitimate production anomaly. Here's a pattern interrupt. Take 10 seconds and check your own coin right now. Look at the date. Look for the D. Flip it over. Identify the reverse design. Then inspect the lettering and portrait for anything unusual. Don't use your fingers to rub the surface. Don't scrape it. Don't clean it. And don't throw it into a machine that could scratch it. Now, what if you find doubling? This is where patience matters. True double die characteristics are created during the die-making process, while many forms of machine doubling happen during striking. They can look similar to an untrained eye, but collectors treat them very differently. If the doubling looks substantial, get expert opinions before assuming you've found something extraordinary. And here's another secret. Condition is not just about whether the coin looks shiny. A coin can be shiny because somebody cleaned it. That's very different from original mint luster. Professionals examine surfaces, strike quality, marks, color, and overall preservation. A coin that looks perfect under normal room lighting can reveal problems under magnification. So, how much could a 2009 D penny actually be worth? For most circulated examples, you're looking at a modest amount, often around face value. Uncirculated examples can bring more, especially in high grades, but the exact price depends on grade, demand, and the specific variety or error. Exceptional certified pieces can be worth significantly more than ordinary cents. But $1 million? That is not a realistic value for a normal 2009 D penny. If someone tells you that every 2009 D cent is worth $1 million, be skeptical. The real treasure is finding something genuinely unusual and proving it. That's what makes coin collecting so addictive. You don't need to know everything before you start. You just need to slow down and learn what you're seeing. Maybe your penny is ordinary. That's okay. Maybe it has a high-grade surface. Maybe the strike is unusual. Maybe you've discovered a legitimate error that deserves professional attention. The exciting part is that you won't know until you check. And remember, the most valuable discovery may not be the coin with the biggest headline. It may be the coin with the best evidence. So before you spend that 2009 D Lincoln cent, give it one careful inspection. Check the date. Check the D. Identify the reverse design. Study the surfaces. Look for genuine mint-made abnormalities, and compare your coin with trusted references. Then ask yourself one question. What if the penny you've ignored for years is actually the one you should have examined? Probably it won't make you a millionaire. But that's not the point. The point is that rare coins are hiding in ordinary places, and sometimes a tiny piece of metal can carry a story worth much more than its face value. If you have a 2009 D penny, tell me in the comments what reverse design you found and whether you noticed anything unusual. And if you enjoy discovering the hidden clues inside America's pocket change, subscribe and stay with us, because the next ordinary-looking coin might have a story you never expected. What if the 1969 D Lincoln penny sitting in an old jar, drawer, or pocket change could be worth far more than 1 cent? Before you spend it, stop and look closely at that tiny D mint mark. Because while most 1969 D pennies are ordinary coins, A rare example with the right characteristics can become a serious collector's prize. And there's another 1969 penny that has sold for more than $600,000. So, could your 1969D be hiding something extraordinary? Stay with me because the detail you need to check is easy to miss. The 1969D Lincoln cent was struck at the Denver Mint, and millions were produced for everyday circulation. At first glance, it looks like just another old brown penny. Abraham Lincoln faces right on the front, the word liberty appears beside him, and I in God we trust sits above his head. Flip it over and you'll see the Lincoln Memorial. Nothing seems unusual, and that is exactly why valuable coins can be so easy to overlook. Here's the first thing you need to understand. A normal 1969D penny is not automatically worth $1 million. In fact, most circulated examples are worth only a small amount above face value. Even high-grade examples can vary dramatically depending on their condition. But collectors aren't simply searching for an old date. They are searching for something different, something unusual, something that separates one coin from thousands of nearly identical pieces. And this is where the mystery surrounding 1969 Lincoln cents gets especially interesting. You may have heard stories about a 1969 penny worth tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, or even a fortune. Those stories are real, but there is an important detail that many videos leave out. The famous rarity is the 1969 S double die obverse. That coin has an S mint mark, meaning it was produced in San Francisco, not Denver. And that distinction matters enormously. PCGS records the 1969 S double die obverse as one of the most famous modern Lincoln cent varieties, with fewer than 100 examples believed known. A spectacular specimen graded MS66 red sold for $601,875 at auction. Another example previously set a $126,500 auction record. So if your coin says 1969D, don't automatically assume you have that famous six-figure rarity. But don't throw it back into the jar either, because the 1969D itself can still be valuable in exceptional condition. According to current PCGS auction data, a 1969D Lincoln cent in high mint state condition has reached thousands of dollars, with the auction record listed at $7,475. PCGS price information also shows how dramatically condition can affect the value of a 1969D, especially for bright red, high-grade examples. Think about that for a second. A penny that most people wouldn't even bother picking up can potentially be worth thousands if it has the right combination of condition and rarity. But now comes the part you absolutely need to know. Don't confuse machine doubling with a true double die. This mistake can turn an exciting discovery into a disappointment. A coin can appear doubled because of the striking process, damage, or other forms of mechanical distortion. Under magnification, you might notice what looks like a second outline around letters or numbers. It looks exciting, but appearance alone isn't enough. A genuine double die is created much earlier in the die-making process, producing a specific type of doubling that collectors can identify. And on the famous 1969 S double die obverse, the strongest doubling appears on the date, liberty, and I in God we trust. PCGS notes that the doubling is prominent and extends in a southeast direction. Now look at your 1969D. Start with the date. Don't just glance at it. Use a magnifying glass. Look around the 1, the 9, and especially the shapes of the digits. Then examine liberty. After that, inspect I in God we trust. But remember, simply seeing something that looks blurry or doubled doesn't prove anything. This is where many people get fooled. And there is another fascinating detail about the famous 1969 S variety. The mint mark itself isn't doubled in the same way. Why? Because during this era, mint marks were punched into working dies separately, after the main design had already been created. That means the mint mark can tell you something important about what kind of doubling you're looking at. Now imagine finding a 1969 penny and noticing strong, unusual doubling across the date and lettering. Your heart starts racing. You check the mint mark, and then you see an S. That is when you should slow down and investigate carefully. If it says D, you have a Denver coin, and you should not label it the famous 1969 S double die. If it says S, however, you may have something much more interesting. And that difference is literally one tiny letter. One tiny letter can separate an ordinary penny from one of the most famous Lincoln cent varieties ever discovered. Here's an incredible part of the story. In 1995, a woman reportedly found a 1969 double die while searching through circulated pennies. The coin eventually changed hands several times, with its value climbing dramatically as collectors recognized what it was. PCGS records that an example discovered in circulation eventually reached a $6,000 sale after passing through several dealers. Imagine that. A coin that someone could have ignored in everyday change eventually became a major collectible. And in 2007, another remarkable discovery happened. Collector Michael Tremonti found a 1969 double die in an unsearched roll of Lincoln cents. The coin was in exceptionally high condition and was graded MS64 red by PCGS. In January 2008, it sold for $126,500. But the story didn't end there. A much finer example later became one of the greatest Lincoln cent discoveries of its generation. The Stuart Blay example, graded MS66 red, sold for $601,875. More than $600,000. For a penny. And that's why people continue searching rolls, collections, inherited coin jars, and forgotten boxes. Not because every old penny is valuable. Most aren't. They're searching because rare varieties can hide in plain sight. Now let's return to your 1969D. If your coin is heavily worn, scratched, stained, or damaged, its value will usually be much lower than a pristine example. But if your 1969D has sharp details, original red color, minimal marks, and exceptional preservation, it could attract serious collector interest. PCGS auction records show that top-quality 1969D cents have reached thousands of dollars, demonstrating just how much condition can matter. And here's the mistake you don't want to make. Never clean the coin. Don't polish it. Don't scrub it with soap. Don't use chemicals. Don't try to make an old penny look shiny. Cleaning can permanently damage the original surface and reduce collector appeal. Instead, hold it carefully by the edges and examine it under good lighting. If something looks unusual, photograph both sides. Record the date and mint mark. Then compare the characteristics with trusted numismatic references or have the coin examined by a professional. Because when you're dealing with a potentially rare coin, authentication matters. A coin that looks like a major error may turn out to be ordinary damage. And an ordinary-looking coin with the right variety can sometimes be worth far more than anyone expected. So here's your challenge. Go find your old Lincoln cents. Check the dates. Look for 1969. Then check the mint mark. If you find a 1969D, examine its condition carefully. If you find a 1969S, pay extremely close attention to the date and lettering for the distinctive double die characteristics. And don't stop with just one coin. Check the entire collection, because the most valuable coin you own might not be the one you've been staring at for years. Could be sitting underneath it. Now, could a normal 1969D penny make you a millionaire? Based on documented auction records, there is no established $1 million sale for a normal 1969D Lincoln cent. The famous six-figure 1969 rarity is the 1969S double die obverse, and its documented record is $601,875. But that's actually what makes this story more exciting. You don't need to believe every $1 million penny claim. You just need to know what you're looking for. Because the real treasure isn't simply finding an old penny. It's finding the tiny detail that makes that penny different. So take another look at that 1969 Lincoln cent. Check the mint mark. Check the date. Check Liberty. Check I in God We Trust. And most importantly, don't assume that a coin is worthless just because it looks ordinary. One tiny detail can change the entire story. If you enjoy discovering hidden value in everyday coins, subscribe and stay with us, because the next penny you check could be the one everyone else overlooked. Imagine finding a 1973D Lincoln penny in your pocket and discovering that one tiny detail could separate an ordinary 1-cent coin from a collector's dream. Sounds impossible, right? But before you spend yours, look closely, because the 1973D penny has a story that can teach you exactly what makes a common coin become surprisingly valuable. Today, we're taking a close look at the 1973 Lincoln cent with the small D mint mark from Denver. You'll learn what this coin is normally worth, which mistakes and unusual features can make it more desirable, and why dramatic claims about million-dollar pennies need a very careful second look. And stay with me, because one of the biggest mistakes collectors make is assuming the date alone creates the value. First, picture the year 1973. The United States was changing rapidly, prices were rising, and millions of Americans were carrying Lincoln cents every day. The coin in your hand was designed to be spent, not saved. It features Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, with the familiar words "Liberty" and "I in God we trust," while the reverse carries the Lincoln Memorial. Now look underneath the date. See that tiny letter D? That means the coin was struck at the Denver Mint. And here is the first pattern interrupt. That little letter is important, but it does not automatically make your penny rare. The 1973 D cent was produced in large numbers, so most examples are ordinary circulated coins. If yours has normal wear, no unusual error, and no exceptional condition, it is generally worth only a small amount above or around face value. That may sound disappointing, but don't put it back in the jar yet. Why? Because collectors do not value every coin simply by its date. They look at condition, strike quality, errors, varieties, color, and whether the coin has been authenticated and professionally graded. Here is where the mystery begins. Imagine two 1973 D pennies sitting side by side. They are the same date, same denomination, and same mint mark. One might be worth almost nothing beyond its spending value. The other could attract serious collector attention. What changed? The answer is the coin story. Condition can make a dramatic difference. A penny that has spent decades bouncing around in pockets, cash registers, and drawers can develop scratches, dents, discoloration, and wear. But a coin preserved with sharp details and an attractive original surface can be far more interesting to collectors. Look at Lincoln's hair. Check the lettering. Examine the date. Then inspect the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. Are the details sharp, or have they been rubbed away? Does the coin show heavy marks? Is the surface unusually bright? And here is something many people get wrong. Shiny does not always mean valuable. A freshly cleaned penny can look bright, but cleaning may leave scratches or an unnatural surface that collectors dislike. Original color and preservation matter. On copper cents, collectors often describe color using categories such as brown, red-brown, and red. A well-preserved red example can be much more desirable than a heavily worn brown coin. Now let's talk about the part that creates the biggest excitement online: errors. A genuine mint error can transform the conversation. Coins can sometimes leave the mint with striking mistakes, such as dramatic off-center strikes, wrong planchets, doubled features, clipped planchets, or other unusual production errors. But there is a major warning here. Not every strange-looking penny is a mint error. A coin can be damaged after leaving the mint. Machines, chemicals, heat, tools, and years of circulation can create weird shapes and marks. Those problems usually do not create the kind of premium collectors pay for genuine mint errors. So if your 1973 D penny looks unusual, don't immediately assume you found a million-dollar treasure. First, ask a better question. Does the unusual feature look like something that happened during minting? That distinction can save you from a very expensive mistake. Now examine the D mint mark. Is it clear? Is it in the expected location? Does it look like normal minting? Or are you seeing damage around it? Be careful with online videos claiming that a particular tiny shape, letter, or scratch automatically means a fortune. Without reliable attribution and authentication, those claims can be misleading. And there's another trap. People sometimes confuse a rare variety with a damaged coin. A genuine double die, for example, involves specific characteristics created during the die-making process. Random machine doubling or post-mint damage can look dramatic under magnification, but it is not the same thing. This is why a $10 magnifying glass should not become a $10,000 assumption. If you believe your 1973 D cent has an unusual feature, photograph both sides clearly. Use good lighting. Avoid polishing it. Do not scrape the surface. And if the coin appears genuinely exceptional, consider having it examined by a reputable numismatic expert or professional grading service. Now, what about the million-dollar claim? Here is the truth that responsible coin collectors need to hear. A normal 1973 D Lincoln cent is not a million-dollar coin. There is no sound basis for telling viewers that every 1973 D penny could make them a millionaire. The huge numbers you may see online often involve sensational headlines, hypothetical scenarios, or completely different coins. But that does not mean you should ignore your 1973 D penny. The real opportunity is learning how to recognize the difference between ordinary, collectible, and truly exceptional coins. Think about it this way. The date gets your attention. The mint mark gives you a clue. The condition tells you more. The error or variety can change everything. And authentication can determine whether the story is real. Now imagine you are searching an old jar of pennies inherited from a parent or grandparent. You find several Lincoln cents from the 1970s. Most are worn. One has a D mint mark. Another looks unusually sharp. Then you notice one coin has a strange design feature. That is the moment to slow down. Don't clean it. Don't throw it back. Don't list it online for $1 million before anyone has examined it. Instead, compare it carefully with known examples and seek expert guidance if the feature appears significant. And remember something else. Condition is not just about looking shiny. A coin can be valuable because it survived with minimal contact and strong original detail. Professional grading can document that condition and make comparisons between coins much easier. One more thing. Never compare your coin only to an internet asking price. Sellers can list coins for any amount they want, but an actual sale is different. Look for documented auction results, credible references, and expert opinions. That simple habit can protect you from hype and help you recognize a genuine opportunity when hunting coins. So, what should you check on your 1973 D cent right now? Start with the date. Confirm that it really says 1973. Then find the D mint mark beneath the date. Next, inspect the surfaces. Look for unusual strikes, missing design elements, major doubling, off-center placement, or other features that appear to have happened during minting. Then check the condition. Are Lincoln's details strong? Is the lettering crisp? Does the reverse show clear detail around the memorial? Finally, resist the temptation to clean the coin. That last step is important because once the original surface is altered, you cannot simply undo it. Here is the surprising lesson from the 1973 D penny. Sometimes the biggest value is not in the coin itself, but in knowing what you are looking at. Millions of pennies have passed through American hands. Most were never meant to become treasures. Yet a small number can become collectible because of exceptional preservation, unusual varieties, or genuine mint errors. That is why coin hunting is so addictive. You are not just searching for an old penny. You are searching for an exception. So, take another look at your 1973 D Lincoln cent, hold it under a light. Compare it with another penny. Use a magnifier if you have one. And if you spot something truly unusual, tell me what you found in the comments. Did you find a 1973 D penny with an unusual strike, a possible doubled feature, or an amazingly preserved surface? You may be holding nothing more than a common cent, or you may have discovered a coin worth investigating. Just remember, $1 million headline is not proof of $1 million coin. The smartest collectors know that real value comes from evidence, rarity, condition, and authentication. And that is exactly why you should never judge an old coin by its face value alone. Before you spend that 1973 D penny, check it one more time. That tiny D may not make you a millionaire, but it could be the coin that teaches you how hidden value really works. And if you enjoy uncovering the stories, mistakes, and surprising possibilities hiding inside ordinary American coins, subscribe and stay with us. Because the next penny in your pocket could have a secret you never noticed. Imagine finding a 2000 D Lincoln penny in your pocket and discovering that one tiny detail could make it worth far more than 1 cent. Before you spend another penny, listen carefully, because the 2000 D Lincoln cent is a coin that can fool even experienced collectors. And there is one mistake people make that can turn a potentially interesting coin into an ordinary one. Today, we are going deep into the 2000 D Lincoln penny, what makes it collectible, which errors and varieties actually matter, how condition changes the value, and why some internet claims about $1 million pennies need a serious reality check. Because yes, extraordinary Lincoln cents can bring extraordinary prices, but not every 2000 D penny is a hidden fortune. The real mystery is figuring out whether yours has something unusual. At first glance, this coin looks almost boring. It is a copper-plated zinc cent from the modern era, carrying Abraham Lincoln on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the back. The tiny D beneath the date tells you it was struck at the Denver Mint. Millions upon millions of cents were produced in 2000, so a normal 2000 D penny is not rare simply because it is from that year. In circulated condition, it usually remains close to face value. But stop right there. That does not mean every 2000 D cent should be ignored. This is where the hunt gets interesting. Collectors search modern coins for dramatic mint errors, unusual varieties, exceptional condition, and coins that escaped into circulation despite being imperfect. A coin can be common by date and mint mark yet still become desirable if the individual piece has a major manufacturing error. So what should you look for? Start with the date. Make sure you actually have 2000, and then look beneath it for the D mint mark. Next, inspect Lincoln's portrait under strong light. Look at the lettering, the date, the rim, and the overall surface. Then flip the coin over. Don't rush this part. A scratch is damage. A dent is damage. A flattened edge from a machine is usually damage. Dark discoloration does not automatically mean rarity. And doubling caused by wear or damage is not necessarily valuable double die variety. This distinction is where many beginners lose money. Imagine someone finds a 2000 D penny with a strange-looking date. They take a quick photograph, post it online, and someone tells them they have $1 million coin. Excitement takes over. But when the coin is examined closely, the strange appearance turns out to be circulation damage. That is why identification comes before valuation. Now let's talk about the famous $1 million idea. There have been Lincoln cents that sold for astonishing amounts, especially famous early issues, major errors, and exceptional specimens. But a standard 2000 D Lincoln cent is not automatically worth $1 million. There is no credible basis for saying that every 2000 D penny with a D mint mark is $1 million coin. And honestly, that makes the real treasure hunt even more interesting. Because if someone handed you a 2000 D penny, would you know how to tell an ordinary example from a truly unusual one? Here's the first thing I'd check. The condition. Condition can make a huge difference with modern coins. A fresh, sharply struck example with brilliant surfaces, strong details, and almost no marks can be much more desirable than a heavily worn cent. Professional grading services examine factors such as luster, contact marks, strike quality, and surface preservation. Think about two identical cars sitting side by side. One has been driven for 20 years through snow, rain, and dirt. The other has barely been driven and still looks new. Same model, completely different appeal. Coins can work the same way. A 2000 D cent pulled from circulation may have scratches, stains, and dull surfaces. A pristine specimen preserved from the moment it left the mint can attract serious collectors, especially when professionally authenticated and graded. But there is another twist. The 2000 D cent is made with a copper coating over a zinc core. If the outer copper layer is missing, improperly applied, or dramatically affected by a genuine minting error, the coin can look very different from a normal cent. That does not mean every silver-looking 2000 D penny is valuable. Some coins lose their copper appearance because of chemicals, environmental exposure, cleaning, or other damage. A genuine mint error needs to be examined as an error, not simply as a strange color. This is why you should never clean a potentially valuable coin. It sounds harmless. Maybe you think polishing will make Lincoln shine. But cleaning can leave scratches and unnatural surfaces that reduce collector appeal. Once you have a coin that looks unusual, leave it alone. Now imagine you are sorting a jar of pennies. You reach the bottom and find a 2000 D cent that looks almost perfect. The lettering appears sharp. Lincoln's portrait is clean. The rim is strong. You turn it over and something about the reverse catches your eye. That is the moment to slow down. Take clear photographs of both sides. Compare the coin with a normal 2000 D cent. Check the weight with an accurate digital scale. Look closely at the edge. If something appears genuinely abnormal, consider getting an opinion from a reputable numismatist or professional grading service. And here's another pattern interrupt. Do not rely on a single online price listing. An asking price is not the same as a sale price. Someone can list an ordinary penny for $1 million. That does not mean anyone paid $1 million for it. Real market value comes from evidence, especially documented sales of comparable coins. So what could your 2000 D penny actually be worth? For a normal circulated example, think in terms of cents, not fortunes. Uncirculated examples can bring more, depending on grade and demand. Genuine mint errors or unusual varieties can potentially bring substantially higher premiums, with the exact value depending on the type and severity of the error, authenticity, condition, and collector interest. But a $1 million valuation would require extraordinary evidence. You would need far more than a D mint mark and a 2000 date. This is the part that separates a real coin hunt from an internet rumor. If you believe your penny has a major error, don't immediately sell it to the first person who offers you money. Get independent opinions. Ask what specifically makes the coin unusual. Find comparable, authenticated examples. And if the potential value is significant, professional certification can be extremely important. Now, here's a simple challenge. Go find your jar, drawer, old coffee can, or coin collection. Look for a 2000 D Lincoln cent, put it under a bright light. Don't use a magnifying glass first. Start with your eyes and compare it to a normal coin. Check the date. Check the D. Check the rim. Check Lincoln's portrait. Flip it. Inspect the memorial, lettering, and edge. Then ask yourself one question. Does the coin look different because the mint made it that way, or because something happened to it after it entered circulation? That single question can save you from one of the biggest mistakes in coin collecting. And remember, the most exciting part isn't finding a coin that someone claims is worth $1 million. It's finding something real. Maybe your 2000 D penny is completely ordinary. That's okay. You have still learned how to examine coins properly. But maybe you discover a dramatic error that deserves professional attention. That possibility is why collectors keep searching. A tiny coin can carry a huge story. And sometimes the difference between 1 cent and a serious collector premium is not the year printed on the coin. It is the tiny manufacturing mistake almost nobody noticed. So before you toss that 2000 D penny into a cash register, take another look before you spend it again. Don't clean it. Don't scratch it. Don't trust an outrageous internet price without proof. Examine it carefully, compare it with normal examples, and get professional help if something truly unusual appears. Because the truth is more valuable than the hype. A standard 2000 D Lincoln penny is not a guaranteed $1 million coin, but a genuine error, an exceptional specimen, or an unusual discovery can make an ordinary-looking cent worth investigating. And that's the real hidden money secret. The next valuable coin you find may not announce itself with a giant price tag. It may be sitting quietly in a jar, waiting for someone patient enough to notice the detail everyone else missed. If you enjoyed this hunt, keep checking your change, because there are plenty of other Lincoln cents with surprising stories hiding in plain sight. And if you want more coin mysteries, rare errors, and hidden value discoveries, subscribe and stay with us. Your next 1 cent coin might be more interesting than you think. Imagine finding a 2013 D Lincoln penny in your pocket and discovering that one tiny detail could make collectors stop in their tracks. Sounds impossible, right? Before you toss that penny aside, look closely because the date, the D mint mark, and the condition can tell a much bigger story than you might expect. Today, we're taking a close look at the 2013 D Lincoln cent, including what makes an ordinary example common, what kinds of errors can change its value, and why online claims about $1 million pennies need a reality check. And stay with me because near the end, I'll show you exactly what to inspect before deciding that your little copper-colored coin is just pocket change. The first thing you need to know is simple. A normal 2013 D Lincoln cent was made at the Denver Mint for everyday spending. Millions entered circulation. So if you have a regular 2013 D penny with ordinary wear, it is generally worth about 1 cent. Wait, don't stop watching. That doesn't mean every 2013 D penny is worthless. Modern coins can become interesting when something goes wrong during production, when a coin survives in unusually high grade, or when a genuine variety attracts collectors. The key is knowing the difference between a normal coin and an unusual one. Start with the mint mark. On a 2013 D Lincoln cent, the small letter D identifies the Denver Mint. You'll find it beneath the date on the obverse, near Lincoln's portrait. It is tiny, so grab a flashlight or use your phone camera and zoom in. Here's where many people make their first mistake. They see a strange-looking D and immediately assume they've discovered a rare mint error. But a weak, blurry, or damaged mint mark is not automatically valuable. Circulation, scratches, cleaning, corrosion, and lighting can make ordinary details look mysterious. Now turn your attention to Lincoln's portrait. Check the date carefully. Is it really 2013? Is the D actually present? Does the coin look like a normal copper-plated zinc cent? Or does something about its color, surface, weight, or shape seem unusual? That last question matters. A genuine mint error can sometimes be far more interesting than the date itself. Errors may involve striking problems, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, double details, wrong planchets, or other manufacturing mistakes. But there is an important rule. Unusual does not automatically mean rare, and rare does not automatically mean worth a fortune. Think about it this way. Imagine two 2013 D pennies sitting on a table. One has been carried around for years, with scratches, dark spots, and worn lettering. The other looks incredibly sharp, with strong details and almost no visible marks. They have the same date and mint mark, but a collector may view them very differently. And that brings us to condition. For modern Lincoln cents, condition can be extremely important. A coin that spent years in pockets, cash registers, and vending machines can collect tiny marks that are invisible to the naked eye. Those marks can separate an ordinary circulated coin from a premium uncirculated example. So don't polish it. This is one of the biggest mistakes beginners make. They find an old-looking coin, clean it until it shines, and think they've increased its value. In reality, cleaning can damage the original surface and reduce collector appeal. If you suspect you've found something special, leave the coin alone. Now let's talk about the $1 million claim. You may have seen videos, posts, or listings saying a 2013 D penny can be worth $1 million. That sounds incredible. It also makes a fantastic headline. But a normal 2013 D Lincoln cent is not a $1 million coin. There is no legitimate reason to assume that every 2013 D penny with a D mint mark is worth anywhere close to $1 million. Online asking prices are not the same thing as confirmed sales. Someone can list an ordinary penny for $1 million, but that does not mean anyone is willing to pay it. This distinction is absolutely critical. A real valuation comes from factors such as authentication, condition, rarity, documented varieties or errors, and actual market demand. Auction records and verified transactions are much more meaningful than a dramatic internet listing. But here's the exciting part. If your 2013 D penny has a genuine, unusual minting error, the story can change. The value could move from 1 cent to a collectible premium, depending on exactly what happened during production and how rare the error is. For example, imagine a coin struck significantly off-center while still retaining enough of the design to identify it. Or imagine a cent struck on an incorrect planchet intended for another denomination. Those situations can attract serious attention because they involve genuine production mistakes, not damage that happened after the coin left the mint. And there is another trap. People often confuse doubling with machine damage. A true double die is created during die production and can show specific, repeated doubling characteristics. Random flattening, scratches, dents, or shifting metal caused during circulation are different. If you think you see doubling, don't rely on a quick glance. Compare the details carefully and, when necessary, have the coin examined by a knowledgeable specialist. Now check the edge. Roll the penny between your fingers. Look for anything that seems abnormal in the shape or thickness. A strange edge can be a clue, but again, it is not proof of rarity. Damage from machines, tools, or other coins can create strange-looking surfaces. Next, weigh the coin. A standard 2013 Lincoln cent is made primarily of zinc with a thin copper coating, and its official weight is 2.5 grams. A precise digital scale can help identify coins that may deserve further investigation. But a weight difference alone doesn't prove a valuable error. Dirt, damage, wear, or an inaccurate scale can create misleading results. This is where patience pays. Don't rush to sell. Don't scrape the surface. Don't drill a hole in it. And definitely don't trust a random online comment claiming your penny is worth a fortune. Instead, document what you see. Take clear photographs of both sides, the edge, the date, the mint mark, and any suspected error. Use good lighting. Keep the coin in a safe holder, and avoid touching the surfaces unnecessarily. Now comes the moment everyone wants to hear. What is your 2013 D penny actually worth? If it is a normal circulated example, think face value 1 cent. A nice, uncirculated example may bring a small premium depending on quality and demand. A certified high-grade coin can be worth more, but the exact amount depends heavily on the grade and marketplace. A genuine rare mint error is a completely different category. Its value can range from a modest premium to substantially more, depending on the error, rarity, condition, authentication, and collector demand. But $1 million? For a normal 2013 decent? No. Treat that claim with extreme skepticism unless there is extraordinary documentation proving an actual transaction for a specific, authenticated coin. And that's actually good news. Why? Because it means you don't need to believe every sensational story to enjoy coin hunting. The real excitement is discovering something that most people overlook. So take another look at your 2013 D penny. Is the date correct? Is the D mint mark clear? Does the coin have unusual doubling? Is the strike dramatically off-center? Does the edge look strange? Is the weight consistent with a normal cent? Or does it deserve a closer examination? And here's a little challenge. Check your change jar, old coin rolls, desk drawer, and the places where forgotten pennies tend to hide. You might not find $1 million coin. In fact, you probably won't. But you could find an unusual error, a high-grade example, or another coin with a story worth investigating. Remember, the most dangerous mistake is not throwing away a confirmed $1 million penny. It's believing a huge price claim without checking the evidence. The 2013 D Lincoln cent is a perfect reminder that coin collecting is really about details. A tiny letter, a strange strike, a missing piece of design, or an unusual planchet can turn an ordinary-looking coin into something collectors want to study. So before you spend that 2013 D penny, give it one more look. Because sometimes the difference between pocket change and a collectible isn't the date printed across the coin. It's the detail almost everyone else ignored. If you enjoy finding hidden value in everyday coins, keep checking those pennies, keep learning the signs of genuine errors, and keep your expectations grounded in real evidence. And if you discover a 2013 D cent that looks truly unusual, don't clean it, don't alter it, and don't sell it based on a viral price tag. Get it properly evaluated. There are millions of pennies out there, but only a small number may have something genuinely special going on. And the next unusual coin could already be sitting in your pocket. Subscribe for more rare coin mysteries, hidden details, and surprising discoveries hiding in plain sight. What if the ordinary 2014 D Lincoln penny sitting in your change jar is hiding a detail that turns a 1-cent coin into a collector's prize? Before you spend another penny, look closely because the year, the Denver Mint mark, and especially the condition can change the story completely. Today, we're taking a close look at the 2014 D Lincoln cent, a coin millions of Americans have handled without giving it a second thought. You'll learn what makes this penny interesting, which mistakes and varieties deserve attention, what can make one example dramatically more valuable than another, and why claims about $1 million pennies need a serious reality check. And stay with me because near the end, I'll tell you exactly what to inspect before deciding whether your coin is just 1 cent or something worth setting aside. At first glance, this coin looks almost too ordinary to matter. It carries Abraham Lincoln on the front, the familiar phrase "I in God we trust" above him, Liberty beside the date, and a small D beneath the date indicating that it was struck at the Denver Mint. Flip it over and you'll see the Union Shield design, 1 cent, United States of America, and the motto E pluribus unum. Here's the first surprise. Ordinary does not automatically mean worthless, but it also does not automatically mean rare. The 2014 D cent was made for circulation in large numbers. That means most examples you find in pocket change are worth very close to their face value. So if someone tells you every 2014 D penny is a hidden $1 million coin, be careful. That claim confuses possibility with reality. But there is a reason collectors still inspect modern cents. Minting is a massive mechanical process. Blanks are fed into presses, dies strike thousands of coins, and equipment operates at extraordinary speed. When something goes wrong, unusual coins can sometimes escape into circulation. A dramatic off-center strike, a major broad strike, a wrong planchet error, a double design, or another genuine mint-made error can be far more interesting than a normal coin. And that is where your inspection begins. Look at the date first. Is it definitely 2014? Now find the tiny D beneath it. If your coin has a D, you have a Denver issue. Next, stop and look at the lettering. Does anything appear doubled in a way that looks like two distinct impressions rather than damage? Check Liberty. Check I in God We Trust. Then examine Lincoln's portrait and the reverse lettering. But don't grab a magnifying glass and start celebrating every blurry edge. Machine doubling, die wear, scratches, dents, and damage can create strange-looking shapes that are not valuable varieties. This is one of the biggest mistakes new collectors make. A coin can look unusual without being rare. Now turn the penny sideways. The edge should look normal for a copper-plated zinc cent. Since 1982, most Lincoln cents have been copper-plated zinc, so the 2014 D cent is not a solid copper coin. If you see exposed gray zinc because the copper-colored coating has been damaged, that does not automatically mean you found a rare mint error. Could simply be wear or damage. Here's another pattern interrupt. Don't clean it. That shiny penny you scrubbed until it looked brand new may actually become less desirable to collectors. Cleaning can leave scratches, unnatural surfaces, or a bright appearance that tells an experienced buyer the coin has been altered. If you think your cent might be valuable, leave it exactly as you found it. Now let's talk about condition, because this is where an ordinary modern penny can separate itself from the millions around it. Imagine two 2014 D cents sitting side by side. One has been in circulation for years. Lincoln's cheek shows marks, the fields are scratched, and the copper plating has picked up dirt and discoloration. The other looks almost untouched, with sharp details, clean surfaces, strong original luster, and no obvious contact marks. They have the same date. They have the same mint mark. They have the same 1-cent denomination. Yet collectors can view them very differently. That is the mystery behind many modern coins. Rarity is not simply about age. Sometimes the condition is the story. A coin that has survived in exceptionally high-grade condition can attract collectors who want top-quality examples for registry sets and specialized collections. Professional grading services can authenticate and grade coins, but remember something important. A grading slab does not magically make a common coin rare. The grade must be genuinely high, and the market has to care about that particular issue. So where does the million-dollar idea come from? Usually, it comes from mixing up spectacular auction records, famous rarities, and ordinary coins that happen to share a date or denomination. Some American coins really have sold for extraordinary sums. But that does not mean a normal 2014 D penny is worth $1 million. That distinction matters. If you actually find a 2014 D cent with a major, authenticated mint error, the situation can become much more interesting. The value would depend on the exact error, how dramatic it is, its condition, authenticity, and what collectors are willing to pay. A tiny irregularity is one thing. A major production error that is obvious without heavy magnification is something completely different. So picture this. You're sorting a handful of pennies at the kitchen table. You pick up a 2014 D. Nothing seems unusual. You nearly toss it back into the jar. Then you notice the reverse. Something looks wrong. Maybe the strike is dramatically off-center. Maybe part of the design is missing because the coin was struck outside the normal collar. Maybe the shape looks unusually broad. Your heart jumps. This is the moment to slow down. Do not polish it. Do not scrape it. Do not try to repair it. Do not assume the first internet post you see is correct. Take clear photos of both sides and the edge. Compare the coin with trusted references. If the feature appears significant, consider having it examined by an experienced numismatist or a reputable grading service. While provenance alone does not make a common cent valuable, documentation can help tell the story when an unusual coin is being evaluated. Now, let's get to the question everyone wants answered. How much is a normal 2014 D Lincoln penny worth? For most circulated examples, think face value, not a fortune. Uncirculated coins can bring more, particularly in high grades, but the exact price depends on quality and current collector demand. Exceptional certified examples can be worth substantially more than ordinary cents, yet that still does not turn the typical 2014 D penny into $1 million coin. And that may actually be the most important reveal in this entire video. The treasure is not the date alone. The treasure is the combination of date, mint mark, condition, and a genuine error or variety. That is what you should remember. If you have a 2014 D penny, hold it under good lighting. Look at the date. Find the D. Inspect the lettering. Study Lincoln's portrait. Turn it over and examine the shield, lettering, rim, and edge. Look for major abnormalities that appear to be part of the minting process rather than damage caused after the coin left the mint. Then compare it with another 2014 D cent. Side-by-side comparisons can reveal details your eyes miss when you inspect a single coin. And don't ignore the possibility that your most interesting coin may not be the one with the biggest story attached to it online. Sometimes the best find is simply an unusually preserved coin. Sometimes it is an obvious mint error. Sometimes it is nothing more than a damaged penny that looked exciting for 30 seconds. That's the fun of collecting. You investigate first. You verify before you spend money. So check your jars, drawers, old rolls, and coin boxes. If you have a 2014 D Lincoln cent, don't throw it away just because it looks ordinary. But don't believe anyone promising an instant $1 million either. Let the coin prove its story. And if you discover something truly unusual, remember this. The goal is not to make the coin look better. The goal is to preserve the evidence that explains why it might be different. Because the next time a small copper-colored coin lands in your hand, it may be worth 1 cent, a little more, or, in the rare case of a genuine collectible error, considerably more. The real secret is learning how to tell the difference. So take another look at that 2014 D penny before you spend it. What do you see on yours? A normal coin, an unusually high-grade example, or a possible mint error? Keep searching, keep learning, and keep your eyes open. The most exciting discoveries often begin with a coin everyone else ignored. And if you enjoy uncovering the hidden stories behind ordinary American coins, subscribe for more rare coin mysteries, surprising values, and simple tips that could help you spot something special hiding in plain sight. Stop. Before you spend that 2015 D Lincoln penny, take a closer look. That tiny coin could contain an unusual minting error, and some Lincoln cents have shocked collectors with prices far beyond face value. But here is the twist. An ordinary 2015 D penny is not automatically worth $1 million. The real mystery is what might be hiding on the coin in your hand. Today, we are hunting for the details that can separate a normal 1-cent piece from a collectible error. You will learn what the D mint mark means, which mistakes deserve attention, what damage can fool beginners, and why condition matters so much. And stay with me because near the end, I will explain the biggest mistake people make when they hear the words rare penny. Imagine this. You are standing at a cash register, receiving a handful of change. You notice a familiar Lincoln portrait, the date 2015, and a small D beneath it. Nothing looks special. You almost drop it into a jar. Then you notice something strange around the lettering. That is where the story changes. The 2015 D Lincoln cent was struck at the Denver Mint, one of the United States mint facilities that produced enormous numbers of coins for circulation. The coin carries Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Union Shield design on the reverse. It is a modern copper-plated zinc cent, so most examples are common. And that word matters, common. A coin can be old-looking, shiny, or interesting without being rare. Age alone does not create a fortune. Mintage, condition, errors, varieties, demand, and authentication all play a role. So if someone tells you every 2015 D penny is worth millions, be careful. That claim skips the most important part of the story. But don't put your coin away yet. The first thing to check is the mint mark. On this coin, the small D identifies Denver. If your 2015 Lincoln cent has a D, you know where it was struck. If there is no D, you are looking at a different production source, and that changes the research path. Next, examine the date. Look closely at the numbers 2, 0, 1, and 5. Are the digits shaped normally? Does anything appear doubled? Is one digit strangely thick, shifted, or partially missing? Sometimes what looks like a dramatic error is simply wear, machine damage, or a scratch. Now flip the coin. This is where many people get excited too quickly. Study the words United States of America, the denomination 1 cent, and the Union Shield. Look for unusual doubling, missing details, strange metal movement, or a design that appears noticeably off-center. A genuine mint error can be valuable because it happened during production, before the coin ever reached the public. But here is the pattern interrupt most new collectors need to hear. A scratch is not a mint error. A dent is not automatically a mint error. A coin that has been squeezed, Scraped, polished, or damaged after leaving the mint usually does not become rare. In fact, cleaning can hurt a coin's collectible value. So how can you tell the difference? Think like a detective. A real minting error should make sense as a production mistake. It should affect the design or metal in a way consistent with how coins are struck. Random damage often looks harsh, irregular, or fresh. When you see something unusual, do not immediately grab sandpaper, chemicals, or a polishing cloth. Preserve the coin exactly as you found it. And there is another clue that can make a huge difference. Condition. Two coins with the same date and mint mark can have completely different values. A heavily circulated 2015 D cent may be worth only its face value. A pristine example with strong details, attractive surfaces, and exceptional grading can attract collectors. But even a beautiful normal coin should not automatically be called a $1 million coin. Now let's talk about the $1 million claim. Could a normal 2015 D penny sitting in your pocket realistically be worth $1 million? No. There is no solid basis for saying an ordinary 2015 D Lincoln cent is a $1 million coin. That is important because viral videos and social media posts sometimes turn unusual possibilities into guaranteed fortunes. A rare error can be valuable, but value must be supported by real market evidence, comparable sales, and professional authentication. So where does the excitement come from? Collectors know that spectacular mint errors can sometimes command dramatic premiums. The more unusual the mistake, the stronger the condition, and the greater the collector demand, the more interesting the coin becomes. But the exact value depends on what the error actually is. For example, imagine finding a 2015 D cent with a major off-center strike. If the design is clearly shifted and part of the coin's blank planchet is visible, that could be worth investigating. Now imagine a dramatic double design that is confirmed as a genuine die variety or striking error. That could attract even more attention. But there is a critical word in both examples. Confirmed. A blurry photograph cannot prove rarity. A website headline cannot prove rarity. And an online seller asking a huge price does not prove that a coin is worth that amount. Auction records are much more useful because they show what buyers actually paid. That is why serious collectors photograph unusual coins carefully, compare them with trusted references, and sometimes submit them to professional grading and authentication services. Certification can help establish whether an error is genuine and document the coin's condition. Now imagine finding your own 2015 D penny. You hold it under a bright light. You tilt it slowly. You inspect Lincoln's portrait. You check the date. You look for doubling around the letters. You turn it over and study the shield. Then you notice something that does not look right. Your heart starts beating faster. This is the moment when patience matters more than excitement. Do not clean it. Do not scratch it. Do not attempt to straighten it. Do not glue anything to it. And do not send money to someone who promises to reveal a fortune without examining the coin properly. Instead, photograph both sides in sharp focus. Record the weight with a precise digital scale if you have one. Measure the diameter if possible. Compare the coin with another normal 2015 D cent. Differences become easier to see when you have a control coin beside it. And remember one more secret. Lighting can create fake errors. A strong shadow can make lettering look doubled. A reflection can make a rim appear damaged. Dirt can create strange shapes. Even camera compression can turn normal details into mysterious lines. So before you celebrate, inspect the coin from several angles. Now, here is the question I want you to answer. Do you have a 2015 D Lincoln penny right now? If you do, take it out. Look directly below Lincoln's portrait and find that small D. Then check the date. Flip it over. Study the lettering and the shield. Ask yourself whether what you see could have happened during striking, or whether it looks like damage caused later. That simple question can save you from one of the biggest mistakes in coin collecting. And here is the value reveal. If your 2015 D penny is a normal circulated example with no significant error or special variety, you should not expect a $1 million payday. It is generally a common modern cent, and its value is typically around face value in ordinary circulation. But if you discover a genuine, significant mint error or an exceptionally collectible variety, the situation can change. The coin could deserve professional evaluation, and its value could be substantially higher than 1 cent. The $1 million dream is the hook. The real treasure is knowing how to recognize what is genuinely rare. That is what makes coin hunting so addictive. You are not just looking for an old coin. You are looking for evidence of something unusual that happened during a massive manufacturing process. One tiny mistake can turn an ordinary-looking piece of metal into a conversation piece, a collector's item, or, in exceptional cases, a highly valuable rarity. So check your change jars. Check old rolls. Check the coins sitting in drawers and cups around the house. But keep your expectations realistic and your eyes sharp. And if you find something strange, don't assume it is worthless, and don't assume it is a fortune. Investigate, because the difference between a damaged penny and a genuine mint error can be impossible to see at a quick glance. And that is the mystery. Sometimes the smallest clue is the one collectors remember. The next time a 2015 D Lincoln cent passes through your hands, you may never look at that tiny D the same way again. If you enjoyed this hidden money hunt, subscribe for more rare coin discoveries, unusual mint errors, and fascinating U.S. coins hiding in everyday change. Your next penny might be ordinary, or it might have a story worth investigating.